Ben Miles is the new president at Chelsea Hospital. Welcome to Chelsea, and welcome back to Michigan.
Well, thank you very much, Bart. It's great to be here. It's a pleasure to join you. Excited. This is going to be one of the highlights of my early career here.
Well, all of us that live here know why you want to be in Michigan, but it's actually your home state.
It is, yeah. My family and I were in Indiana, Fort Wayne area for about 10 years and had a great experience there. But, you know, I knew in my heart I was always coming back to Michigan and its home. In fact, you know, before we had a chance to spend time together this morning, I was reflecting with some other friends on the way over here about the first time I heard someone say they were going to vacation up north. And I know for Michiganders, up north means something special, and I just said, oh God, it's good to be home.
Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
What was it about Chelsea in particular that attracted your interest?
You know, I think first and foremost, it's the team here at Chelsea. Chelsea just has a strong and really kind of a family culture. You know, when I've connected with leaders across the community, patients and their loved ones, they talk about the great experience they have here. It's not just the quality outcome, but just how kind our staff is. And it drew me because I feel like I'm wired very similarly. On the personal side, though, you know, we've got family nearby. Definitely wanted to get back to Michigan. And while I'm new to Washtenaw County, have you know, some college you know, ties very close by, and just you know, it's great to be home.
I think that's the first question everybody asks a newcomer: is it Michigan, Michigan State? Did you get trapped in Indiana with any of the football teams down there?
You know, it was easy to not get trapped in Indiana, all due respect to my Hoosier friends. But yeah, it's good to be back where football's known how to be played.
Good. So in Fort Wayne, it appears to be a very competitive healthcare market.
Right.
Anyone that's driven down 69 sees hospital after hospital after hospital.
Right.
And billboards and wait times to the ER are posted on billboards. The competitiveness of that market versus what has become a competitive market in southern Michigan, how do you take your experiences in Fort Wayne and put them to use here in Chelsea?
Gosh, I mean, that's a good question, because it wasn't all that long ago I was in Indiana. You know, I think at the end of the day, the community wins when there's good competition. And, you know, I certainly saw that, you know, in my time in Indiana. I think one of the things that I'm going to be able to bring is that different experience, that fresh perspective. I think the team here at Chelsea is great, but I'm a believer in that old adage of what got you here won't get you there. So I think as we're seeing more and more competition, even locally in the Chelsea market, much less the broader Ann Arbor, Southeast Michigan, it's going to keep us sharp and on our toes. And I think, you know, how we are successful in that is by keeping the main thing, and that is a relentless obsession with the patient experience. So we want to have the highest quality outcomes, and we want to make sure that folks are absolutely delighted with world-class service.
So some things that, as I know just in the first few months that you've been here, that you want to do, are you set for a game plan yet?
I would say it's developing. I'm trying to get off to a quick start here. The great news is Chelsea was already on such a strong trajectory. We're blessed to be part of a joint venture with two incredible world-class systems. So Trinity Health is one of our parents, Michigan Medicine is the other. I think we're able to draw upon the strengths of really two leading health systems, and that's led to our ability to keep local care local and really recruit some world-class talent to our community here. I think at the end of the day, when I think about the future, we're not going to try to be something that we're not. You know, this is not a large metropolitan area, and I think we just need to embrace who we are. That being said, though, I see us growing services to be able to care for a broader array of patients who are appropriate for a community hospital setting. And it's really just kind of finding our niche within the Trinity Health and Michigan Medicine families. Some of the areas specifically, you know, I think we've seen incredible growth in our emergency services and urgent care. We talked a little bit about that earlier. You know, Dr. Collin and the team have just done an amazing job of serving our community. And when I've gotten out to local groups like Rotary or Chamber of Commerce, and I've asked them, tell me about your experience here. They know they're going to get a great experience, and they know they're going to get great access. And I think that's why so many people in Chelsea and around Chelsea are choosing us for their care.
How do you decide what service areas to add, what specialties might be needed, and as you decide what kinds of things you want to add to Chelsea?
It's a great question. You know, I think some of this is, you know, building upon what we have here. You know, we have great specialty services, especially for a facility our size. We've had a tradition of great outreach to the community from a mental health perspective, and certainly coming through the pandemic and whatever COVID continues to bring us, we know that mental health issues are a huge need, and we want to keep that very much a part of what we serve. But I think we've also added and reinvigorated with the joint venture our services with inpatient rehab. You know, for a community hospital to have such two strong and high-performing areas like that, it's exciting. But beyond that, we work with our team, you know, really at the corporate office to understand demographically, what do we think is coming down the pike here? What are going to be the needs? And I think it's all really woven around what our community needs. And, you know, so that could be really focusing on growing the services we have, or perhaps bolstering and adding some new. I think you're going to see additional surgeons and surgical specialties that we recruit in time, especially as well some medical specialties to, you know, mitigate the need to transfer into Ann Arbor. I think we're going to be able to keep more care here in the future.
And I think the pandemic did expose some of those areas that were hard to recruit, certain specialties. Have we seen any improvement since hopefully we're at the end or near the end of that?
You know, I think to some degree, workforce is just such a huge issue, right? And I think it's across different industries. We're blessed here to have an incredibly strong leadership team, and I mentioned the culture earlier. We're in a very enviable position to not have outside agency here. I mean, Chelsea staff is caring for Chelsea patients, which is great. But that being said, it's a tough market to be in, and so we want to make sure that we're compensating our colleagues well, and that we're building an overall environment which is a place where people want to work, not a place where people have to work.
I noticed one of the strong points of your leadership in Fort Wayne was your team approach to management. How does that translate here in Chelsea?
Gosh, it was a big part of what drew me here. You know, I think it was a little tough going through the interview process because this is the first job I've ever taken where it was all virtual and through screens. And so, you know, it was tough to read body language in that, but healthcare is a team sport, and the warmth of our, you know, colleagues, the warmth of our physicians and medical staff, the leadership team here really shine through. And so, you know, my style is definitely very collaborative. I pride myself on having, you know, kind of that quote unquote open door policy, and try to be very approachable. And this isn't just where, you know, colleagues can come to me. You know, I'm really trying to be very intentional about rounding and getting out into the gemba, to use a lean term, but where the value is created. So spending time in the emergency department, on our units, getting in the bunny suit every now and then, and getting into the OR, and, you know, getting a little early start on Halloween, right?
Anything that surprised you about Chelsea Hospital?
Fortunately, no. I think if anything, I guess the biggest surprise for me has just been how welcoming this community has been, how welcoming this team has been. To really expand upon that, you know, Chelsea's been here for a little over half a century. And in that time, there have been 3 leaders for this hospital, 3 CEOs. And so it was a bit of a daunting idea to come in knowing that there has been, you know, this tight-knit family. And I wondered, would it be difficult to build that trust? And I think to the credit of Will and Kathleen and Nancy, they've built a culture that is really one that's focused on the right things. And it's been easy to become a part of this team. And I think over the course of time, that relationship's going to build. But yeah, it's been really a bit of a surprise just how, I'm not going to say easy, but how welcoming the team has been. That's been great.
Yeah, I always felt with Nancy that she had a sense of ownership as president of the hospital, and it sounds like that is something that you probably are going to feel as well.
I think so. I don't think that anybody in this role would really do well if they didn't have that. And I think, you know, to their credit, I've had an opportunity to meet with each of my predecessors. And we actually had a combined luncheon with the four of us. It was kind of the Mount Rushmore of Chelsea Hospital. We got a picture in front of the hospital. But you know, what's wonderful is I don't feel like any of them are overreaching, but they're still deeply invested. Two of my predecessors are literally within walking distance of the hospital. So it's nice to have that resource, that legacy, because, you know, as a newcomer, what I want to do is understand our past so we can honor that history, but at the same time be bold enough to write a new and exciting chapter for this great organization.
Well, best of luck in your new role. Thanks.
Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be here.
Great to have you with us today.
All right.